In swimming, the catch is incredibly important because you want to create a greater surface area in which to push water back, which in turn is going to move you forwards. And the more powerfully we can do that, the quicker you're going to be in the water. Number one in setting up the catch is it actually all starts with the entrance. When you are entering your arm into the water, you have to make sure that your palm is facing down and your fingertips are entering the water first. Then as you extend, make sure you keep it that way. You want to keep your fingertips below the wrist, elbow, and shoulder, and you want to enter at a slight downward angle as you're extending out in the water. So the second step of the catch is early initiation. As soon as you enter the water and then extend, don't hang out there for a long period of time, especially if you don't have a strong kick that's pushing you forwards. You need to initiate that catch by having those fingertips go to the bottom of the pool, getting that elbow above the hand, so you're creating what I would call a paddle all the way from the armpit to the elbow down to the fingertips. Step number 3. So yes, while your arm is nice and relaxed as you recover, as you enter and extend, the time that you do firm up is when you're starting that catch position. So as soon as you get your fingertips to the ground, that's when you have a firm wrist to the fingertips and a firm forearm. From there, as you can see, I've created that paddle position and what some most commonly call it the early vertical forearm because it's in front of my shoulder and my arm is now vertical to my fingertips. From there, the more tension I have in my forearm, the more force I can put on the water to push water back and in turn move me forwards. So a common mistake we see is that when folks enter their hands in the water, they'll actually bend their wrists a little too much in order to get those fingertips down to get that elbow ahead of it. But at this point, it's really hard if you're just breaking your wrist and you're trying to pull water back. You're just basically pushing water back with your hand and not your whole elbow. So make sure that once you get into that position, that everything is connected and it's one straight line from your elbow down to your fingertips, and then you have all this surface area in which to push water back. A mistake we often see with new swimmers is that they reach a little too high on the surface when they're entering the water, and in turn the front part of their stroke, it's then pushing water down, which in turn is lifting them up and sinking them in the back. But outside of that, if you're pushing water down, you're also dropping your elbow. So a common mistake I see with swimmers is that they just try to pull too quickly and they never achieve that front catch position because they're just rushing through the stroke. So we see them enter, and as soon as they start to pull, they actually start to pull with the elbow back. And so the elbow stays low and the hand actually stays high, kind of pushing water down as they're pulling water back. So just make sure to slow down at the front end of your stroke. Enter again, make sure that the hand moves to get the fingertips down before now pulling that whole arm back.